Yes, guys, I wanted to run you through my story of seeing failure in all aspects of my life when it came to my career, progressing with my physique, being in alignment to my mission and the man I wanted to be. This is 2018. So I'd recently gone through a significant physique transformation between 2016 to 2018. I was always the fat kid in school. I was 100 kilograms at 5'9". So you can imagine the way I was feeling, the way I was looking at that point. I went through a significant transformation over 2 years, started to fit into a lot more social groups, social settings, started training to become a PT. And at that point, my actions just were not lined up with a PT at all. I was going out drinking, I was getting high on a week to week basis. And this is the position I was in. I was on trains, drinking bottles of Smirnoff with squash. I mean, that's a pretty big fucking low within itself. And over the course of the last couple of years, I've coached hundreds of men to change their lives. And since 2020, I've been coaching in gyms. Even before that, coaching guys in 2018. At this point, I was even giving advice to men on their physique. But last couple of years, things have really picked up. And I want to run you through today some lessons, some phases, and ultimately give you some hope, give you some clarity, give you some solutions for how you can go and solve this if you're in a place where you're not quite the man you want to be at the minute. So 2018, I was qualifying to become a PT here. I had a passion for it. I'd gone through a big transformation. I didn't want men to feel the way that I felt at that point. However, life started to build up on top of me and my actions weren't aligned to someone who was a PT. Yes, I was training to be a PT, but I wasn't acting like a PT. I'd started working behind a bar. I'd just left my career with accountancy. I'd gone through a big transformation, but I started to have other priorities as any 18, 19-year-old lad would have. I started to just prioritize things in life that you have to go through that phase to actually learn, right? This isn't the right thing for me. And that happened for a couple of years. But, before you know it, by 2019, I was going out drinking twice a week, getting high. In general, not being the man that I knew I had the potential to be, not being the man that I wanted to be more than anything else, which would lead to me, yes, having some great times, not really moving forwards in my physique. But realistically, I would get to a Monday and I'd think, what the fuck am I doing with my life? Now, things started to turn around for me. So, physique was in a pretty decent space. I would say going into 2020, physique was in the best place it had been. I'm going to put that out there because there's a bit of a flash there. Yeah, I would say physique was in the best place it had been. Going into 2020, I was in a pretty good space. I just got myself into a gym. I think because I'd got myself into a gym, my actions started aligning more to a PT. We're still going out drinking. We're still having a social life. But I started I started knuckling down a lot more at that point. Big obstacle came. COVID. What a bitch COVID was, right? April 2020, I was made redundant. I was actually basically broke at this point because I worked through March and April and the guy was meant to pay us and he never paid us. The gym went into liquidation. When a company goes into liquidation, you can't technically go and chase them for money. So I had basically no money at that point. I'd lost my job. And to put the icing on the cake, gyms were now closed. The thing that I'd gone through this big thing for to go and do, I now couldn't do. So I had a lot taken away from me. So you can imagine, through COVID, I went backwards. From April 2020 all the way up to where I'm going to show you over here. Yeah, there was a long time of me going backwards on my physique. If we look at this, that's a space of, a year? Maybe just over a year? Yeah, things just started to fall down my importance list. I started gaining body fat. I started losing muscle. I stopped training. And just fell back into a lot of bad habits. And these are the things that I've learned from. These are all the experiences I've had to get to where I am today. But at the end of the day, the one key thing was I never fully threw the towel in. There was times I felt like throwing the towel in. There was times that I almost ran away. Like here, for example, I called my old boss back from the accountancy place I worked at and asked him for my job back. Fortunately, he had no space for me. And that was a big telltale sign to me. I was going to need to make PT work. I never was really going to give up on this. And that's something you need to have. You know, when you're in this position where, you know, you get yourself into a decent place, you start making some progress, but you start moving backwards because life just goes bang and hits you in the face. You need to have an element of grit, determination, and resilience, and just faith in the mission. Because things will not be fucking perfect. You know, perfect circumstances will never happen. And the only time that you're going to accept, and the only time that you fail, right, is the time that you quit. Because as long as you keep going, as long as you hang in the game, because yes, I was going backwards here, but I hung in the fucking game, and I didn't quit. I didn't say I'm not going to do PT anymore. I didn't say I'm going to go backwards. So I had my back against the wall. I had to make PT work at this point, otherwise I was going to be pouring pints for the rest of my life, right? So in March 2021, I decided to say, you know what, fuck it. I'm going to apply to, this is when gyms were reopening, like thoroughly, because gyms had opened again, but then they closed very quickly around kind of Christmas, November time the year before. So I applied to every single gym within 45 minutes of me. Funny enough, the gym that was 45 minutes from me said, you know what, Matt, come and have an interview. Got the job. And for 9 months straight, my life was I commuted 90 minutes, 6 days a week to make this career work, because it was 45 minutes there, 45 minutes back. So, you know, as a PT as well, you know, you're looking at some clients will come to you at 6, 7 a.m. Some clients will come to you at 7, 8 p.m. So my life was literally get up at 5 a.m., go home at 8, 9 p.m., sleep, do the same thing again for a long time. But what that did was, again, put my back against a wall, made me learn a lot about myself, made me kind of isolate myself, in essence, made me start building the habits of a high achiever, made me start surrounding myself with people who were not only ahead of me, but people who were in a position that I actually wanted to be in as well. And that was a key change, was, if we look back here, you know, I was in the accountancy world, I was in, you know, bartending world, I was going out drinking. Who was I around? I wasn't around people that were ahead of me. I was around all the people who didn't have the life that I wanted. The minute I started being in this place, although I wasn't where I wanted to be, because I wasn't making that much money, I didn't have much freedom, I enjoyed what I was doing, I love changing lives, but the key difference for me progressing here was I started surrounding myself with like-minded people who fucking backed my mission. Phase 4. So, this is over 12 months of procrastination. Me being in gyms, me moving to another gym. So I went from David Lloyd's, because it was so far away, I just felt like I had no fucking life. So I decided to move to a banner time, which was literally 5 minutes from me. So that was perfect. But in reality, I knew that me working in gyms was great, but it wasn't kind of what I really wanted to do long term. I wanted to help guys with their nutrition. I wanted to help guys actually form habits in their lives to go and change the fucking scope of their lives, the same way that I'd done over them couple of years, the same way I'd done back in 2016 to 18 when I lost 38 kilograms, the same way that I'd completely changed my life through COVID and got myself in a gym. I wanted to actually help guys in a bigger picture than what I was doing just in gyms, because a gym was me helping someone 1 hour a week, when in reality with online, I knew I could help someone 6 days per week. So that was going to be the route I wanted to go down. Now, there was a lot of imposter syndrome that year. A lot of imposter syndrome. Me not backing myself. So I knew I had this. I knew I had the capabilities to do this. But I didn't quite fucking back the mission for a long time. There was a big sink or swim moment before this. So I went to Magaluf with my friends in July 2022, I want to say. And when I went out there, I got very drunk for about 7 days straight. And just thought, what the fuck am I doing with my life? I need to make a change. So I knew at that point I was going to come back and launch my online coaching. A couple of months later, I went to Spain with my family, and I was in a pool visualizing. I was on Instagram. I looked at a mentor, and I just literally signed up to him. And that's when everything changed. And that came from me really putting my back against the wall again. As you can see, a lot of changes for me came when I had my back against the wall. I didn't really have any other option, and I had to make it fucking work. So you can definitely take some advice from that, is if you're driven, if you have a mission, putting your back against a fucking wall and saying, I now need to make this work, will be something that can really push you. Now, a couple of months went by. done my online coaching, started making content, massively out of my comfort zone, but things were progressing. I was picking up online clients, so I was working at the gym, picking up online clients as well, but things just became a lot tougher. Very busy, stressed out, burned out, not living the life that I really wanted at that point. So I knew I needed to do better. I knew I needed to be a better version of myself. I knew I needed to get in control of my health and fitness, because that was definitely falling by the wayside with me being so busy, with me focusing so much time on my career. So I knew I needed to surround myself with people who were ahead of me and were better. So I underwent this transformation over here, and that only came down to the fact of, in January 2023, I went to work with a physique coach. And I put over here in terms of my ego, because it wasn't like I've ever had a big ego or anything, but there was a subconscious ego behind me that said, because you're a coach, Matt, you shouldn't be employing someone else to help you with your health and fitness. And this story that I was selling myself was the exact thing holding me back from creating a transformation like this, because I always had the ability to do this. It wasn't like I was taught any crazy methods through this physique coach that I didn't already know. It was more so the fact of, at this point when I went to work with my physique coach, my expenses were the exact same as my incomings. I had to put my back against the wall again, and I had to take this person's advice. And on top of that, he was ahead of me. He was in the position that I wanted to be in life, so obviously he knew how to get there. I checked in with him every week. I was accountable to him multiple days per week as well. And because I had that accountability, because I had my back against the wall, because I was listening to someone's advice who was in the exact position of where I wanted to be in life, this transformation happened in 4 months. And even through this route, I was working 60-hour weeks, having not a massive life, because I was chasing physique, business, and also seeing family quite a bit as well. Family's always been important to me. So I didn't have time for many other things in my life. But when I look at this, if I can do this, why can't other men do this? And that's exactly how I've helped men over the last couple of years, is showing them, look, I've come through all these problems. I've come through all these struggles. You can face all of these fucking problems that I've faced today over the last 5 years, over the last 8, 9, 10 years. As long as you have the willingness to not fucking give up, and to put 100% into what you're doing, and to more than anything start surrounding yourself with people ahead of you, because you can see I plateaued for a long time on my journey, but the minute I started surrounding myself with people that were ahead of me, think David Lloyd's, think with my coach here, started taking their advice rather than advice of people who weren't where I wanted to be, and I just started putting 100% into my mission, stopped going out drinking so much, not saying I knocked it on the head completely, but actually started living in alignment to my mission and my values. That's when this transformation happened. So yeah, after I worked with the coach, went from 78.5 to 63.5 kilograms. The transformation was cool, but the way it changed more than anything, my mindset, my life, and my confidence was everything I needed to start stepping into becoming the man that I always wanted to be. Now bear in mind, this is 2 years ago as well, so we've gone under pretty fucking sick transformation since this point as well, so we can definitely speak to you about that in the future. But just know, if things aren't perfect for you now, it's not going to always be perfect. It never will be perfect. The right time will never present itself. You're never going to get less stressed and less busy than this. Realistically, if you want to have a fucking good career as a man, you want to keep progressing, then you're going to face bigger problems. I'm currently in 2025 facing bigger problems than I did last year and the year before, but I'm now more equipped to face them, and I have better support to go and face them. So I know for a fact that I have more confidence than ever to come through these problems. So if you're a man right now who wants to progress in his life, you are going to face bigger problems and bigger stresses over the next couple of years when you want to progress your career. So the perfect time for you to start on yourself is now, because it's only going to become fucking tougher to do it in 2 years' time. So my best advice to yourself is don't procrastinate the way that I did years back, because I'd be way ahead of where I currently am. Trust yourself. Take people's advice that are ahead of you and where you want to be in life. Put 100%, if not 110% into the process and the problems. Make sure when you have a problem or an opportunity, and it's a big opportunity, and you know for a fact it's your biggest opportunity in life, you then need to start attacking this with the most possible effort and eliminate the rest of the noise out of your life. When you start implementing this, guys, watch your life just completely change in front of you.